Dr. Marcus Chen curses as his boot sinks into the alien mud, nearly losing his footing on the slippery bank of Kepler 774c's massive river delta. The xenobiologist's attention snaps to a flash of iridescent fur thrashing against the violent current. Despite 5 years of training to never interfere with alien wildlife, Marcus's decision takes less than a heartbeat. The six-limbed leopard-like creature isn't just struggling. It's fighting with purpose, desperately keeping something clutched to its chest above the churning waters. Breaking every protocol, Marcus seals his environmental suit and plunges into the swirling rapids, his body slammed immediately by hidden underwater currents that the creature has been battling for who knows how long. Base, this is Chen. I've encountered a situation. He manages to gasp into his calm as the frigid water envelops him. The creature's iridescent fur flashes brilliant cobalt and magenta against the murky waters. Impossible colors that shouldn't exist in nature. Kepler 774c had already yielded dozens of biological impossibilities, but this was different. The animal's movements were too deliberate, too calculated. Chen, what's your status? Your biosensors are spiking. Commander Rivera's voice crackles through his helmet. Are you in the water? Get out immediately. We don't know what microorganisms. Can't explain now. Marcus interrupts, fighting against the current. Send the retrieval drone to my coordinates. The leopard creature's head turns toward him as he approaches. 6 eyes, arranged in an asymmetric pattern across its broad face, track his movements with unnerving precision. Marcus hesitates for a split second. Predator species across the galaxy share common traits, and this creature has them all. Powerful musculature beneath that shimmering fur, forward-facing eyes, and what appear to be retractable claws glinting from its 6 limbs. By all logic, it should perceive him as either threat or prey. Instead, it does the unthinkable. It adjusts its position, angling its body to ride the current toward him rather than away. Incredible, Marcus whispers as the creature draws closer. Its movements slow, deliberate. The research team had documented over 300 species on Kepler 774c in the 2 months since landing, but nothing approaching this level of apparent intelligence. A sudden surge in the current sends Marcus tumbling. Water floods his helmet speakers, Rivera's voice reduced to garbled static. When he rights himself, the creature is directly beside him, close enough to touch. Its fur ripples with patterns of light that seem almost like language. I'm not going to hurt you, Marcus says, knowing the words mean nothing but hoping his tone might communicate something. Let me help. The creature makes a sound, a complex series of clicks and rumbles that his translator can't begin to process. Then it does something that will change the course of human history on Kepler 774's. It extends one limb toward him, the motion unmistakably deliberate, almost human in its clarity of purpose. Marcus reaches out and grasps what can only be described as a hand, 6-fingered, and covered in short, velvet fur, but a hand nonetheless. The creature's strength is immediately apparent as it pulls them both toward a partially submerged rock formation. As they reach the relative stability of the rocks, Marcus gets his first clear look at what the creature has been protecting so fiercely against its chest. Through the churning water, he glimpses not prey, not offspring, but something entirely unexpected, something that stops his breath more effectively than the frigid river. Base, he manages, his voice barely audible above the roaring water. We're not alone here. And I mean really not alone. The alien predator's eyes, all 6 of them arranged in a mesmerizing pattern, lock onto Marcus with unmistakable intelligence. Instead of lashing out with its visible claws, the creature shifts its body to allow Marcus better leverage. The shocking moment of cross-species understanding nearly causes Marcus to lose his grip in the powerful current. Together they battle toward shore, the creature growing weaker, but never releasing its precious cargo. When they finally collapse on the riverbank, Marcus expects the wounded animal to flee. Instead, it makes a series of elaborate gestures, combining movements with subtle color changes rippling through its fur. Communication so sophisticated that Marcus activates his suit's recording systems, stunned by the realization that this wildlife is anything but. "Hold on," Marcus says, bracing himself against the creature's substantial weight as another violent surge threatens to pull them back into the churning water. The retrieval drone hovers uselessly overhead, its grabbing mechanisms designed for sample collection, not rescue operations. Marcus's muscles scream in protest as he hauls the leopard creature toward the muddy bank. Its fur, sodden with water, reveals a complex pattern of bioluminescent markings pulsing beneath, not random, but sequential, like data streams. The creature's breathing comes in labored gasps, but it continues assisting their shared struggle toward shore. "Almost there," Marcus encourages, unsure if the words matter but certain the tone might. The creature makes a low, resonant sound that vibrates through his suit, not threatening, but acknowledging. With one final effort, they breach the shoreline, collapsing onto the alien soil. Marcus rolls onto his back, chest heaving inside his environmental suit. Beside him, the leopard creature trembles with exhaustion, its 6 limbs splayed across the mud. Yet it still maintains its protective curl around whatever it carries. "Base, I need a medical kit and xenobiology containment unit at my location." Marcus pants into his comm. "Priority Alpha." "Chen, what have you done?" Rivera's voice is tight with controlled panic. "The Council will have our funding pulled for this breach. Tell me you didn't touch an apex predator." "It's not what we thought," Marcus responds, eyes fixed on the creature as it struggles to right itself. "This isn't wildlife. I'm recording everything. You need to see this." The leopard creature rises shakily to a sitting position, its attention entirely focused on the bundle clutched against its chest. Now that they're out of the water, Marcus can see that the creature wears what appears to be a harness, not natural, but manufactured, with various pouches and attachments. "Technology," he whispers, the implications staggering. "It's using technology." The creature's head swivels toward him, all 6 eyes blinking in sequence. Then, deliberately, it extends 2 of its limbs toward Marcus in what can only be interpreted as a gesture of trust. The fur across its body ripples with colors, blues shifting to purples, then pulsing with geometric patterns of light that repeat with clear intentionality. "You're trying to communicate," Marcus realizes, his scientific mind racing to catalog the patterns. The creature makes a series of clicking sounds, then slowly, cautiously, relaxes its protective grip on the precious cargo it saved from the river. As it carefully adjusts its position, Marcus finally glimpses what it's been shielding so desperately. His breath catches in his throat. "Base," he whispers, "you're not going to believe this. It wasn't protecting an object. It's a child. A child of a completely different species. Humanoid. Small, and definitely not related to this creature biologically." The leopard creature gently strokes the unconscious form with one of its limbs, the gesture so tender, so careful, that Marcus feels a lump form in his throat. Whatever this creature is, whatever relationship it has with the childlike being, one thing becomes absolutely clear. He's witnessing something profound. Compassion that transcends species boundaries. The implications are world-shattering. "Holy stars," Marcus whispers as the exhausted creature finally reveals what it protected so fiercely. Not an object, but a child. The small figure appears almost human with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a distinctly humanoid face, but its skin shimmers with translucent patterns that pulse with faint bioluminescence. The research base erupts into chaos when Marcus transmits the footage. "Don't move. Don't interact further," Commander Yasmin orders, her voice tight with tension. "This changes everything, Marcus. We're no longer studying wildlife. We're making first contact with not 1 but possibly 2 intelligent species, and you've already broken every protocol in the manual by pulling them from that river." As Marcus ends the transmission, the leopard creature rises to its feet, gesturing urgently toward the mountains with increasing distress. The retrieval drone finally arrives, dropping a medical kit at Marcus's feet. He hesitates, unsure of the alien physiology of either being. "I want to help," Marcus says, making his movements slow and deliberate as he reaches for the kit. The leopard creature watches him, its 6 eyes tracking every motion. One of its limbs remains protectively curled around the small humanoid child. Marcus opens the scanner, calibrating it for unknown biology. "May I?" he asks, gesturing toward the child. After a moment's consideration, the leopard creature shifts, allowing better access while never fully relinquishing contact. The scanner hums, collecting data. Similar to human baseline in many respects. Marcus murmurs, reading the results. Oxygen breather. Carbon-based, but cellular structure is remarkable. Almost crystalline properties in the epidermis, explaining the bioluminescence. The leopard creature makes a series of clicking sounds, its fur shifting through patterns of blues and purples. Then it reaches toward the medical kit, selecting a water purifier with uncanny precision. "You understand our technology." Marcus watches, dumbfounded, as the creature activates the purifier and gently moistens the child's lips with the filtered water. The child stirs, eyelids fluttering to reveal eyes with no pupils, just swirling patterns of light, like galaxies captured within irises. Base, the smaller being, is conscious, Marcus reports, his scientific detachment crumbling in the face of this moment. "I think." A tremor shakes the ground beneath them, strong enough to send pebbles skittering across the riverbank. The leopard creature leaps to its feet with surprising agility, making urgent gestures toward the distant mountains. "Something's wrong," Marcus says, both to Base and to the creature. "You're trying to tell me something about the mountains." The creature's fur patterns shift rapidly, almost frantically. It makes a sound unlike anything Marcus has heard before, haunting, musical, yet filled with unmistakable distress. The child reaches up, touching the leopard creature's face with delicate fingers. They seem to communicate silently, sharing something beyond Marcus's understanding. "Dr. Chen," Commander Rivera's voice cuts through his fascination. "Extraction team is inbound. ETA 3 minutes. Both specimens will be contained and brought to base for study." "They're not specimens," Marcus finds himself saying. "They're people. Different species, yes, but clearly people." "That determination is not yours to make," Rivera responds coldly. "The Council will decide their status." The leopard creature turns its attention to Marcus, seeming to understand the shift in conversation. It reaches into one of its harness pouches and withdraws an object. Small, crystalline, pulsing with the same bioluminescence as the child's skin. It extends the object toward Marcus, a clear offering. "I think it's trying to show me something," Marcus says, reaching for the crystal. As his fingers touch the smooth surface, the crystal flares with light, projecting a 3-dimensional image above his palm. A detailed map of the region, with a specific area in the mountains pulsing urgently. "Base," Marcus says, his voice barely audible as the implications sink in. "We need to rethink everything we thought we knew about this planet." Everything. The research station's prototype translator flickers with partial success as Azura, named for her shimmering azure purple fur, attempts to communicate through a combination of sounds, gestures, and chromatic skin patterns. Danger. Not for us. For them. The Lumina. The translation team works frantically as they piece together a shocking revelation. They aren't the first advanced species on Kepler 774c. The child belongs to the Lumina, sophisticated beings living in hidden subterranean cities, while Azura represents the Lyrex, surface-dwelling sentinels who've been silently observing the human expedition since its arrival. "We heard your stories," Azura communicates. "Your histories of conquest. We waited, watched." Then the ground began to shake. As if summoned by her words, the research station trembles, equipment crashing to the floor as the first major quake strikes. Marcus steadies himself against a lab table as the tremor subsides. The extraction had gone smoothly, too smoothly, as if the Leopard creature, now named Azura, had been eager to accompany them to the research station. The child, still weak but conscious, remains close to Azura, small fingers tangled in her iridescent fur. The translation matrix is reaching 90% confidence, Dr. Elena Kapoor announces, adjusting parameters on the prototype. It's remarkable how quickly it's adapting to their communication methods. The Lyrex bioelectric language patterns share mathematical foundations with multiple Earth languages, the AI assistant reports. And the Lumina child appears to understand Azura completely. The holographic display shows the crystal's detailed map rotating slowly above the projection table. Several researchers point to anomalous energy readings beneath the mountain range. Ask her what's down there. Commander Rivera orders, her initial hostility tempered by scientific curiosity. Marcus relays the question through the translator. Azura's response comes as a complex series of sounds and color patterns across her fur. Cities, the translator interprets, luminous cities, many thousands, living in crystal chambers, now in danger. From what? Marcus asks. The translator struggles with Azura's next communication, finally rendering. Earth movements. Great fault. Old machines failing. The child stirs, reaching toward the map. Where its translucent fingers touch the hologram, new details appear. Vast underground chambers, interconnected by tunnels, all centered around a pulsing core. Stabilization system. The translator interprets as Azura continues, maintaining balance for many generations. Now failing. Dr. Kapoor leans forward, eyes wide. They've been managing tectonic activity artificially. For how long? Azura's response is simple. Always. The implications stagger everyone in the room. An advanced civilization, hidden beneath the surface, with technology far beyond humanity's current capabilities. Why didn't you contact us when we arrived? Marcus asks the question everyone's thinking. The translator hesitates before rendering Azura's answer. We watched, listened, learned your history, violence, conquest, destruction of environments, taking without asking. The room falls silent. No one can argue against Earth's troubled past. The child, Marcus says softly. Why were you protecting the child? Azura's fur ripples with gentle patterns as she looks down at the small figure beside her. The translator offers. Messenger. Daughter of chief scientist, carrying mourning to surface settlements. River took us. Another tremor shakes the station, stronger than the last. Alarms activate throughout the complex. Seismic activity increasing. The station A reports. Epicenter directly beneath the mountain range in question. Azura rises to her full height, her 6 eyes fixed on Marcus with unmistakable urgency. The translator captures her next communication with crystal clarity. Time running out. Luminous City will collapse. Thousands will die. Help us. Marcus suits up as emergency alarms blare through the research station. The recovery team has detected massive seismic activity directly beneath the largest concentration of unusual energy signatures. What they now realize must be the hidden Lumina settlement. Azura's distress escalates as she attempts to show them geological simulations on their own equipment, her 6-fingered paws surprisingly adept with the human technology. The translation team finally deciphers her most urgent message. Child is detector. Child carries warning. Underground city cannot hear. Fault line will collapse in 6 hours. Captain Rivera enters with a direct transmission from Earth Command. Maintain observation protocols. Do not intervene. Repeat, do not intervene in potential extinction events. The room falls silent as the implications sink in. They're being ordered to stand by and document the destruction of an entire civilization. This can't be right, Marcus says, reading the transmission again. They want us to just watch. Commander Rivera's face remains impassive. Our mission parameters were clear from the beginning, Dr. Chen. We observe and document. We do not interfere with natural processes. There's nothing natural about this, Dr. Kapoor interjects, pointing to the seismic readouts. These patterns show artificial suppression of tectonic activity for centuries, possibly millennia. What we're seeing is the failure of their technology, not a natural disaster. The Lumina child approaches the holographic display, its small form barely reaching the edge of the projection table. With delicate fingers, it manipulates the image, expanding a section beneath the mountain range. The projection reveals an enormous mechanical structure integrated with the planet's crust. Remarkable engineering, Chief Engineer Takeda whispers. They've been redirecting tectonic stress through a network of. Are those crystalline channels? Azura makes a series of urgent sounds, her fur patterns shifting rapidly. The translator interprets. Stabilizers failing. Pressure building. Need human devices to reinforce critical junctions. What devices? Marcus asks. Azura points to the equipment bay where their geological survey tools are stored. The translator conveys. Your vibration dampeners. Pressure distributors. Similar principles to our technology. Compatible. Another tremor rocks the station, stronger than before. A shelf of equipment crashes to the floor. That was a 5.7, the seismic specialist announces, and they're increasing exponentially. Computer models predict a major event within 6 hours, potentially reaching 9.0 or higher directly beneath the Lumina settlement. The child moves to Azura's side, both of them watching Marcus with all 8 of their eyes combined. The silent plea is unmistakable. We have the technology to help, Marcus says quietly. We could save thousands of lives. At what cost? Rivera counters. This is a first contact situation. Any intervention could have catastrophic long-term consequences for both societies. Earth Command is clear. Earth Command is 20 light minutes away. Marcus interrupts. They don't have all the facts. We do. The station's communication officer calls out. New transmission incoming. It's from the Council's Senocontact Division. The message appears on the main screen. Under no circumstances interfere with potential extinction-level event. All data to be preserved. Primary directive is observation only. Intervention risks contamination of natural evolutionary pathways. Extraction vessel dispatched. ETA 12 hours. Secure specimens for transport. Specimens, Marcus repeats, glancing at Azura and the child. They're talking about taking them back to Earth. Azura's fur darkens, indicating she understands more than they realized. The translator captures her response. We die, or become your test subjects. This is why we hid. Marcus looks around the room at his fellow scientists, then back at the seismic readings. The clock on the display shows 5:47:22 and counting down. I didn't save you from that river just to watch you die, or become laboratory specimens, he says finally. There has to be another way. I didn't pull them from that river just to watch their people die, Marcus says, breaking the tense silence as he continues loading geological stabilization equipment onto the crawler. 5 other crew members have joined his unauthorized mission, each facing certain court-martial upon return to Earth. Captain Rivera watches from the doorway, her expression unreadable. The rescue vessel from Earth will arrive in 12 hours, she says finally. That gives you exactly 5 hours to break every regulation in the book and somehow prevent a tectonic catastrophe you're not even certain exists, based on the word of a species we met yesterday. She pauses, then tosses Marcus an advanced scanner prototype. This wasn't logged in our inventory. Good luck. As the crawler departs, the long-range sensors detect an approaching craft, not from Earth, but rising from deep within the planet itself. Marcus secures the final stabilization unit as Dr. Kapoor inputs coordinates from Azura's crystal map. The Lumina child sits in a specially rigged harness beside Azura, both watching the humans with intense focus. That's everything we can carry without compromising vehicle stability, Chief Engineer Takeda announces, closing the equipment bay. 6 primary dampeners, 4 auxiliary units, and enough power cells to run them for 72 hours. Will it be enough? Marcus asks Azura. Her fur ripples with calculations, the patterns increasingly recognized by the translation matrix. Unknown. Better than nothing. A quiet laugh escapes Dr. Santos, the geophysicist. That's reassuring. What about that? Dr. Kapoor points to the radar display, showing an object rising from beneath the mountains, moving on an intercept course with their crawler. Lumina transport. Azura explains, as the child makes a series of delicate gestures. They detected our movements. Coming to investigate. Marcus turns to his team. This is your last chance to go back. What we're doing violates direct orders from Earth Command. I won't hold it against anyone who chooses to return. No one moves. Very well, he says, throat tight with emotion. Let's go save a civilization. As the crawler lurches forward across the rugged terrain, the communication system crackles with Commander Rivera's voice. Chen, be advised that I filed an official report indicating that you and your team were taken against your will by the alien specimens for purposes unknown. Marcus exchanges looks with the others. Commander. Furthermore, Rivera continues, I've noted that the missing equipment was likely confiscated by the same entities. My security team will be unable to pursue due to the increasing seismic activity, making the region too dangerous for rescue operations. The meaning is clear. She's giving them cover. Understood, Commander, Marcus responds. We've been kidnapped and have no choice but to accompany our captors. Exactly, Rivera says, a hint of amusement in her voice. And since you're now beyond my authority, I suppose I should wish you luck. Rivera out. Another tremor, stronger than any before, rocks the crawler. Warning systems blare as fissures open in the ground ahead. Proximity alert, the vehicle's eye announces. Unknown craft approaching, 30 seconds to intercept. Through the viewport, they watch as a crystalline vessel descends, glowing with the same bioluminescence as the Lumina child's skin. It hovers before them, elegant and alien, emanating an energy field that causes the crawler's systems to fluctuate. The child stands, pressing its small hands against the window. Patterns of light pulse across its skin in what seems to be recognition or communication. What now? Dr. Santos asks, eyeing the alien craft warily. Marcus looks to Azura. Tell them we're here to help. The Lyric Sentinel's fur shifts through complex patterns as she emits a series of sounds beyond human hearing range. After a moment, the crystalline ship settles to the ground, and an aperture appears in its seamless hull. They will take us to the city, Azura communicates. But they are afraid. Humans have never been allowed inside. Then we'll be the first, Marcus says, determination hardening his voice as another tremor shakes the ground beneath them. And hopefully not the last. The hidden entrance reveals a breathtaking crystalline metropolis carved into the living rock, illuminated by bioluminescent technology that makes Earth's most advanced cities seem primitive by comparison. Thousands of lumina scatter at the humans' approach, their translucent skin pulsing with alarm patterns. The team's translator devices screech with overlapping signals until the recovered child steps forward, silencing the chaos with a single gesture. These aliens saved Sentinel Azura and me, the child communicates, her status as daughter to the chief scientist becoming clear. They bring warning and offer help. The Lumina leaders reveal the devastating truth. They've studied humans for generations through captured transmissions and deliberately remained hidden, terrified by humanity's violent history. We watched your world wars, your genocides, the chief scientist explains as the ground trembles ominously. Now you ask us to trust our survival to your technology, with minutes remaining before catastrophic failure. Marcus steps forward, removing his helmet in a gesture that elicits gasps from both species. Judge us by what we do right now, not by our worst moments in history. Your child is alive because a Lyrex you once feared chose to protect her. Sometimes the only way forward is trust. The central chamber of the luminous city stretches impossibly high, its crystalline walls etched with spiraling patterns that seem both decorative and functional. Engineers from both species work frantically at a massive control interface, their differences momentarily set aside in the face of impending disaster. The stabilization core is 53% compromised. A Lumina engineer communicates through the translator. Her skin pulses with rapid sequences of light that the device struggles to interpret. Tectonic pressure has exceeded design parameters. Chief Engineer Takeda studies the alien schematics projected in 3 dimensions above the console. Your resonant crystals are vibrating at frequencies our dampeners can match. If we place them here, here, and here, he indicates critical junctions in the complex. We can redistribute the pressure long enough for your systems to recalibrate. Another tremor, stronger than those before, sends cascades of crystalline dust raining from the distant ceiling. Several luminous citizens emit high-pitched sounds of distress. We have 4 hours before catastrophic failure, Dr. Santos reports, reading data from a portable seismograph. And that's optimistic. The Lumina chief scientist, distinguished by elaborate patterns flowing across her translucent skin, approaches Marcus. Her resemblance to the child is unmistakable. The same delicate features, the same galaxy-like eyes. My daughter says you pulled her and Sentinel Azura from the river without hesitation. She communicates. Why would you risk yourself for species you didn't know existed? Because they needed help. Marcus answers simply. It doesn't matter what someone looks like or where they come from. Life is precious. The chief scientist's skin pulses with a pattern the translator interprets as skepticism. Your species has not demonstrated such philosophy in your broadcasts. We have watched your wars, your hatred of those different from yourselves. We're capable of terrible things, Marcus acknowledges, but also remarkable compassion. Like all sentient beings, we contain multitudes. Azura steps forward, her fur patterns shifting in what they now recognize as formal speech. The humans could have left us to drown. They could have imprisoned us for study. Instead, they defied their own leaders to help save your people. The chief scientist considers this as another tremor shakes the chamber. Warning indicators flare across control panels around them. Very well, she says finally. We will integrate your stabilization technology with our systems. But understand this. If you betray us, the consequences will extend beyond our world to yours. Fair enough, Marcus says, extending his hand in the human gesture of agreement. After a moment's hesitation, the chief scientist places her delicate, translucent palm against his. Through the translator comes a final warning. We have one attempt. If we fail, this chamber becomes our tomb. Sweat drips from Marcus's face as he and the Lumina engineers make the final adjustments to the stabilization field. The opposing security vessel from Earth hovers outside the massive cavern entrance, weapons systems active, but holding fire as the planet seems to hold its breath. Then the main quake hits, a roaring monster that shakes the very foundations of the underground city. Crystalline towers sway but hold as the reinforced support structures channel the destructive energy harmlessly into the stabilization field. As the tremors subside, 3 species stand together in the settling dust. Humans, Lyrex, and Lumina, each having set aside centuries of suspicion for a single moment of cooperation. 6 months later, Marcus watches from the newly established Joint Research Center as the first official diplomatic team from Earth arrives to sign the historic Kepler Accords. Azura, now serving as lead Lyrex representative, stands beside her Lumina counterparts. They asked me why I saved the child that day. She communicates to Marcus. I told them I acted without thinking. Protection is written into who we are. Marcus smiles. That's exactly what I said when they asked why I jumped into the river after you. The Lumina representative tilts her luminescent head. Perhaps that is the true foundation of civilization. Not technology or power, but the instinct to reach out across the divide and protect life. No matter its form. 3 different evolutionary paths, 3 different worlds of origin, yet we arrived at the same truth. As delegates from all 3 species gather to formalize their historic alliance, Marcus realizes that humanity's greatest strength was never its technology, or even its adaptability, but its capacity for compassion in the face of the unknown. The control room vibrates violently as the main tectonic event begins. Status displays flash urgent warnings in both human and Lumina interfaces. Equipment topples from makeshift workstations. Resonance patterns destabilizing. Dr. Kapoor shouts over the rumbling. The dampeners can't handle this magnitude. The chief scientist's skin pulses with rapid commands as her team works frantically at crystalline control panels. The southern support matrix is failing. We need more power to the northern nodes to compensate. Marcus stabilizes himself against a console. Takeda, reroute power from the crawler's fusion cells. Santos help the Lumina engineers recalibrate the resonance frequency. Through the transparent walls of the control chamber, they watch as enormous crystal pillars throughout the cavern begin to glow with increasing intensity. The human dampening technology, grafted onto ancient Lumina systems, struggles to redirect the planet's immense geological forces. It's working, Takeda announces, studying the readouts. The pressure is redistributing through the secondary channels. A massive crystalline beam directly above them fractures with a sound like a thunderclap. Before anyone can react, Azura leaps upward, her powerful limbs propelling her to intercept the falling debris. She positions herself between the danger and the humans and Lumina below. The chief scientist raises her hands, and a shimmering field of energy erupts from her fingertips, supporting the weight that threatens to crush Azura. The Lyrex Sentinel's fur pulses with gratitude as human engineers rush to stabilize the compromised section. Slowly, agonizingly, the tremors begin to subside. Status indicators shift from critical red to cautionary yellow. Tectonic pressure returning to manageable levels. A Lumina engineer reports, her skin glowing with visible relief. The recalibration sequence is initiating. Marcus releases a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. We did it. Through the massive entrance tunnel, they see the Earth security vessel hovering cautiously. Its weapons systems remain active but unfired. What happens now? Dr. Santos asks quietly. The answer comes 6 months later. Marcus stands on a newly constructed platform where the river meets the mountains, the symbolic boundary between the domains of humans, Lyrex, and Lumina. Representatives from Earth's Interplanetary Council disembark from their shuttle, faces solemn with the weight of the moment. After weeks of negotiations, the Kepler Accords are ready for signing. The document acknowledges the sovereignty of all three civilizations while establishing frameworks for cooperation, cultural exchange, and shared stewardship of the planet. Azura, now adorned with ceremonial markings designating her as the Lyrex ambassador, approaches Marcus. A simple river rescue changed everything, she communicates. Sometimes the most important moments are the ones where we don't stop to calculate the consequences, Marcus replies. We just act on what we know is right. The Lumina child, now serving as a junior cultural liaison, joins them. 3 species, 1 planet, she says in newly learned human speech. All because someone cared enough to help. As the historic signing begins, Marcus knows that nothing will ever be the same, for any of them. And that's exactly as it should be.